This is the Motherlands podcast, a space for meaningful conversations surrounding women's reproductive health. Here, we strive to shed light on the complexities and nuances, offering perspective, insight, and a profound sense of connection. We aim to empower families through practical education and promoting health and vitality. I am your host, Keely Semler. Today's guest is Mary Gonzalez. She has a farm school called Sweet Mountaintop School, which is a preschool that is entirely outdoors, fully immersed in nature on her beautiful flower farm. She's also a postpartum doula and an herbalist, and she is someone that lives in tune with nature and the seasons of life. She's an incredible resource for new mothers and families, and in our conversation, we discuss the identity shifts of being a new parent, particularly a new mother, on the importance of play and creativity in early childhood education, and we discuss nourishment and being a postpartum doula, how she supports new families. You can find all the bonus episodes and extended interviews on our Substack. You can become a paid subscriber, where you will have access to more in-depth conversations and more personal, unfiltered commentary about women's reproductive health and how choosing to start a family is now a subculture in and of itself, how we can better resource each other for those who want to have a family, and so much more. All of this can be found at keelysemler.substack.com. One of the most significant aspects of maternity care is the ability of individuals to achieve safe, informed, and positive birth experiences, even within complex healthcare systems. Many people enter the healthcare system with unquestioning trust, unaware that financial and institutional incentives may shape the recommendations they receive from their provider. Having supported clients both within and outside a hospital setting for nearly a decade, I have observed that those who engage in proactive preparation and self-advocacy are better positioned to navigate their care effectively. Establishing open, transparent communication with healthcare providers is essential to fostering a collaborative care environment, an approach that is critical regardless of the chosen birth setting. MOTHERLANDS is an educational platform with a focus on the public health and well-being of families. This is a place to come to your own conclusions about what matters most to you and your care through pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and beyond. We have done the work to sift through the data and research to give you the most succinct information to help aid you in your decision-making. We do not peddle our own agenda or ideology, and we respect the integrity of all people to choose what feels the most empowering to their individual body. Motherlands offers a multifaceted approach to learning, providing a library of research, tools, templates, and self-guided educational videos. We also offer live group lectures and discussions so that we can grow and learn from each other's experiences. We offer 2 learning paths. The Wayfarer track is self-guided, where you get access to an entire library and all supporting documents, and the Pilgrimage track, which includes everything from the Wayfarer, plus access to those live group lectures and discussions. This option lets you connect with other women who are looking for support and deeper understanding as they go through their pregnancy and birth journey. If you're interested, head over to wearemotherlands.com and use the code MOTHERLANDSPOD to get 20% off your enrollment. Mary, I'm so excited to have you here, and it feels really special that you get to be in my little podcast nook in the house. You're actually the first person I've had over in this space recording for the Motherlands podcast. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's so special and magical in here.
Yeah, and I felt really excited and happy that you were willing to chat in this space on the podcast, because we were introduced through a friend, other birth worker, Kim. Shout out to Kim. And I've just been so impressed with who you are and how you offer support to women, but also your school, your early education offering for little ones. Can you just share a little bit about how becoming a mother sort of shifts everything, your identity, how you relate to others, what was that experience like becoming a mother to your first child?
Big identity shift for me becoming a mother. I was working a lot right before Orion was born on our farm.
What were you doing?
Full-time farming. So we were running a small-scale organic flower and herb farm, and I really worked all the way up till the end. I had a little break right before he was born because we planned it so he'd be born in the wintertime in our off-season.
Oh, that's smart.
Yes. Yeah, we planned it all. So I definitely feel like once he was born, jumping into motherhood was really natural, something that I always wanted. And I do feel that I struggled a little bit with trying to manage getting back into work and feeling like I needed to get back into work because once he was born, spring came and that was our really busy season.
So you felt a little pressure.
I felt a little pressure, and it was definitely my own pressure because my partner and I were running a crew of women, and we had our first farm manager at the time, and she did an incredible job. And yeah, I was feeling like I still had to do it all with a baby. There was a definite struggle with that, trying to bring him along in the field, thinking that I needed to help weed or I needed to help plant and do all these different things. And the back and forth was a challenge in that sense. But I think being a mother was really easy, came really easy to me. But I think the managing of work and my own personal identity as being a farmer at the time and being a mom was definitely really hard.
I think that's so relatable because I think once someone finds out they're pregnant, you can try and plan as much as possible, but it's hard to really, really, really plan for once the baby has arrived, how you're going to feel, how you want to carve out time for yourself, and how you want to relate to your work. And I see that a lot after people have babies. If there's sometimes a really shocking adjustment of how do I provide for my family now and also honor this time to myself being a new mom. And I just don't feel like enough people talk about it until they're finally in it. And it can feel really isolating and hard to be like, well, I know I need to earn a living. Not everyone has to earn a living. And what an incredible gift to be able to just be at home with your children. Beautiful, beautiful gift. And I admire anyone that does that. But there are a lot of women who can't and who have to provide for themselves and for their families. So it's interesting to hear you talk about what that time was like with Orion and, wanting to be out in the fields, but also knowing that this is really maybe not sustainable for that season of life, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think in the beginning, when Orion was born, I was in the field about a little bit 3 months after, but we had a good amount of help. But I would say when he was 6 months, I was really back at it heavily. We grew the most flowers we ever grew before. We were in the most markets we've ever been in before. I was with my partner working with him, also managing and training and assisting with all of that and running back and forth breastfeeding. Luckily, my partner works at home and we work together in our businesses. So I think there really was a beautiful balance in that of I did get to get my time away and just get back into my body and feel really healthy working outside in the fields and being in nature and coming back and get the phone call, take the farm truck back to our house, 2-minute drive or whatever, and breastfeed. And then Rob would handle it. And this wasn't all the time. This was just a few days out of the week. So we really eased into that. But also it made Rob feel that he was capable of doing anything and really supporting Orion and being a great dad. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I think what I have seen with a lot of my friends is that they're just handling it all, where they're putting their babies down to bed, they're doing the feeding, they're doing everything. And I want to mention that I solely breastfed, so I was just going back and forth. So it was really great to be able to do that and then have Rob handle the rest. But where I was coming from is just having a partner that is really wanting to be in that father role and support our family in that way. Yeah, just being a good dad.
That was actually going to be my next question because I know that you are an amazing postpartum doula. I know that you were the postpartum doula for one of my birth clients, and they love you. And I'm just curious, like, how can partners or support systems be most helpful in supporting a new mother through that early transition of postpartum and early motherhood? I mean, you mentioned that, you had a willing and able partner who was wanting to roll up his sleeves and be involved. How do you maybe support other families with maybe different dynamics where maybe someone is not so sure about how they want to be involved? How do you help resource partners in early postpartum?
I would definitely say having that conversation all the time and reassuring them that what they're doing is amazing, really important job. And also that it is really hard. And it doesn't always come easily to people in being a new parent.
I would say most of the time.
Most of the time. I mean, I am a really big advocate for being outside. And there is something that I do have to say when you're feeling really overwhelmed and really just stirred up and exhausted and you have been inside in postpartum world for so long. Please go outside and take your shoes off and bring your baby outside with you, even if it's just for a few minutes, and get some fresh air. Put your feet on the ground, ground yourself, look at some plants and slow down.
It's funny you're saying this because I just had one of my clients text me last night and she's like, I need help. I need resources. Like something's going on. Her baby's about to be a month old. And she's like, she's not sleeping when she normally does. And she's not feeding like she normally does. Maybe I need to see like a lactation consultant. And then I had given her a lactation consultant's number. And then I sent her a voice memo and I was like, you know what? I just want to normalize some things here. Your baby is growing so rapidly and she's right around a month old. And so there's this huge growth spurt happening. And she's uncomfortable.
Yep, sleep regression, all that stuff.
And you're right around a regression. So I don't want to discredit any instinct you have that something's wrong because I'm not with you right now. I don't know. But I do want to normalize that your baby's right around the age where they can be fussy. They can have more gas. Their schedule starts to shift. And I said, if you want to help your baby kind of shift energy, go out and look at the moon. Yes. Take your baby outside and go, we're going to go look at the moon. I mean, she's a month old. So they have such a delicate, small ability to perceive their surroundings. But when you change the environment like that and you go out in fresh air and they feel on their skin, the air has changed or that it's cooler or whatever, or that it's quieter. All of that can kind of shift the mood, shift the energy for everyone.
Definitely.
And I'm like, even just leaving the room and going into a different room and like being like, okay, we're going to go look in the fridge or whatever, just to kind of shift things, just even a millimeter can make a world of difference. So I love that you tell people like get outside. And it's one of the reasons why I love you. I love how much time you spend outside. It's so inspiring because it's such an easy way to connect back into our bodies.
It really, really is. And something that I think about with infants and babies is that they are so close to the divine still, right? They're just these amazing, fresh spirits that really know more than we do. So much more. They're so incredible little beings. And I think they really are here to be our greatest teachers and remind us those things. And even though they can't speak our language, they're really talking to us in different ways that we need to understand, that we need to learn how to listen and remind ourselves to ground and be outside and connect to nature, because that's really what they need too. And something that I think about with infants and just something really simple as clearing diaper rash is putting your baby outside in the sun for just a few minutes. Airing it out in the sun will heal that skin.
Yeah, like way better than all the creams and things and, which there's a time and a place for them. But what a simple shift of just going outside. I love that. I do want to talk about your preschool because I think it's really special. And I sent you a voice memo like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I went to happy hour with my partner and we ran into this woman that my neighbor introduced us to who was pregnant. And I told her, if you want your child to have the most amazing early childhood education, you got to look up this preschool. Can you just share a little bit about the philosophy of your preschool?
Yes. So our preschool, we consider it a nature program. We're technically not a licensed preschool because we don't have an indoor space. We still call it a preschool because it's age 2.5 to 5. And it's a fully outdoor school in a very large enclosed garden space that has vegetables, that has avocado, like a small orchard of avocado trees. It has flowers and herbs so the children can pick things and snack on tomatoes in the summertime. We somehow still have some tomatoes through winter.
Wow.
It's so incredible. And this is a child-led school. So when the children are really interested in something, our teachers will kind of roll with that. But we do have structure involved with our school. So we have our song and snack time and our lunch circle up and stories and crafts. All the crafts that we do are all nature-based. We work with a lot of wool for felting. They do hand stitching. We make things out of sticks and fairy houses.
Did you do this when you were a child, or how did you come up with this idea? Because I feel like, I don't know about you, my mom was like, okay, you come back when it's dark out. Like,
yes,
it was like, now you're going to go outside and don't come back until it's almost dark out. And being outside was school, but being outside was also creativity. It was also problem solving. It was also getting along with other kids or giving other kids space to be in their own creative process.
Yeah, and understanding the social dynamics and different things. Yeah, I would say, so I grew up in Carpinteria in a small, sweet neighborhood just 2 blocks away from the beach, like 2-minute bike ride, really close by. And we were outside all day, every day. I did struggle once we started going into our regular school system, public school system. That was really tough for me. But something that I really, really remember is we had this daycare right against the mountains in Carpinteria called Ocean Oaks. And it was in this little old house with this beautiful grassy field. And you can oversee the ocean. And it was so incredible. And it was small and it was pure magic and so much fun. And I still remember that. And I actually still talk to the women today. Yeah, Mary Ann, who ran it at the time. And that was really life-changing for me to just have a really safe space that I felt really comfortable because I was a really shy child, believe it or not. And yeah, that really changed a lot for me. But also we were outside all day, every day. I mean, I had friends that grew up on flower farms and had property up in the mountains. And then my dad bought our farm when I was 9 years old. So I was already romping around on different people's properties, free roaming all day, picking blackberries, harvesting walnuts, swimming in little ponds on a boat. It was just so magical. And we were also free to roam. They trusted us and we trusted ourselves. And I think that's really important for children in the way I raise my child now.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the themes that you see come up with different children and like their process of learning and how to include parents in the process of getting to know their child and the different ways that children learn and sort of supporting them through whatever way they need to be supported?
Yes. Something that I've been doing a little bit more research recently, children's love languages and understanding your child's love language. And I think that's a really big one.
What's Orion's?
Orion's is quality time.
Aww.
Clearly quality time. And sometimes we have those really hard days. For him, it's when I'm busy in the morning washing dishes or just trying to get breakfast going, get us out the door. And he really just wants me to sit and paint with him or sit and draw with him. And so something that's been super helpful for me is starting my day like that, starting my day with giving him that quality time before I start getting us ready for the morning. And that's been super helpful. And I try to remind other parents that as well, especially friends who are, their child might be, or their own dynamic is struggling with their child. And I think it's really helpful. on that end.
We went on a walk like a few weeks ago, and you were just talking casually about different children and like how they learn, and how sometimes like the dynamic of like a child being around their parent super closely versus when there's, more space for that child to explore and come out of their shell.
Personally, right now, with my own experience with Orion, he doesn't want me to be hanging out at the school. He wants his freedom.
He's like, bye.
Yeah, he wants his freedom and space, and he gets really upset when I'm around, and he acts differently and doesn't want to listen to the teachers and all that sort of stuff. And then he told me when we got home that, Mommy, I want another big person there. So I respect that space. And I see that a lot with children whose parents are kind of hovering around or not allowing them that space to problem solve and be their own person, and just observe, just stay behind and observe. And if, of course, there's situations where your child needs help, but just to let them have that freedom and that space. Let them climb that tree. Let them maybe fall and trip in a hole and then check in and see if they need you. All these things help them learn to trust themselves and their body.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. There's so much there in that, because you don't maybe get that in a traditional setting indoors. There's less of a chance of a kid tripping in a hole indoors, whereas outside, you can easily slip in mud and fall into, a trunk of a tree or whatever. And allowing, like you said, a child to problem solve and to know that they can take care of themselves, or they can, if they resource themselves. They can go to someone and say, I'm hurt or ouchie or whatever. But I'm willing to bet that a lot of times kids are like, whatever. And just carry on.
I'm good. And I see that a lot with my son. The way he was raised, just thinking that he learned how to walk more on uneven ground. And now he's just so in his body. And when he falls, he gets back up and he feels fine. And most of the time, of course, he'll let us know if something really went wrong. But just being comfortable with that and not having someone else, like your parent, hovering and stressing and them seeing your face and then being like, oh, is something wrong? Did I do something off? Should I feel hurt right now? The confusion of that with a child.
What an incredible metaphor for life in general, which is life is uneven ground. And you do want your kid to be able to confidently walk on uneven ground on their own. I want to go back to what you said about your son, Orion, saying he didn't want you around or he wanted someone else around. How do you not take that personally?
Oh, that's a great question, because I feel, he is his own person, and I completely respect my child and what he says. That's how you don't take it personally.
They're like, he genuinely needs this.
Yes. And what came up to me was, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him for being able to voice that at age 3. Oh. He just turned 3, and that he can voice that to me and tell me how he genuinely feels. And of course, I'm going to respect that.
That's a boundary that he has.
He has a boundary. And it's really important as a parent to hold those boundaries as well, and to teach your child how to hold boundaries.
I think that's amazing. How do you teach your son boundaries?
In a really gentle, loving way. And there is this incredible book that I've been listening to called Mothering Our Boys. And I'm one of 5 girls. I'm the youngest. So the language of a male is so foreign to me. And now that I have a son, it's been really, really helpful. So everybody should go out and listen to that book or read that book, Holding Boundaries. And there is a big part in the book that talks about the importance of boundaries. And the way I hold a boundary is I follow through with what I say.
Absolutely.
Because they're not going to trust what you say. And they're not going to really want to listen to what you have to say in a sense of, okay, we're going to go get ready for school right now. We're going to go put on your clothes. And if I say that and then we just keep playing and then we go about the day and never get ready, he's not really going to trust what I say in that sense. That's just a really simple boundary of holding what you say.
And following through
and following through with that in a sweet and gentle way.
Right.
I think that children, when you're coming from a place of anger and trying to hold boundaries in that way, they really don't want to hear you. And it's hard for your words to come through and for them to understand. There's been examples of I've had a really hard day and I kind of revert to the old parenting ways that some of our parents were, saying something in a really frustrated way, and him just kind of laughing and jumping out of the car seat and not getting on with the timing that we're trying to go somewhere. And I've just had to realize and shift, okay, he clearly wants to make this a game. Let's make this a game. Let's have fun. Let's make this a game. And then instantly he went back into his car seat.
Wow.
Kind of tickled. We laughed about it. We made eye contact. I held him and I told him what we were going to do. And then it just shifted quickly. And it doesn't work for every child, but it's one of those things that it really can if you're consistent with it. And that's what I believe with my own child, as I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about body autonomy? How have you been practicing him learning his own body and that's his space, and him going into other children or other people's space and their bodies close to their body? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So what's been coming to mind is lately at our school, our lead teacher, Emma, is absolutely incredible. I just want to give her a quick shout out that our school wouldn't be what it is without her. And we have a lot of boys in our program, and they love to wrestle. They love to roll around on the dirt.
Do you think there's a reason why there's a lot of boys?
Definitely. I think that little boys really need to be running wild and free and have that freedom. And they're so in their bodies. They have so much energy in their bodies. I mean, forest school was also really created for boys. So the majority of forest schools, there are a lot of boys. We also could be having just a crazy boom of boys these days. But I really do think that it's so essential for boys to be outside, to be running around, and to get that energy out of their bodies and movement. And so with teaching the boys autonomy, I mean, what we've been experiencing is that the boys are wanting to wrestle these days and have really fun play. And boys do play really closely to each other's bodies. And if they don't want to be in the wrestle pile, they can use their words and not be in that space. Of course, it's from like the hips down if they want they want to roll around in the mud together. And then the teachers are there watching and observing and making sure that everyone feels safe and good in the space. But they're loving it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And just for anyone that's listening that might not know us personally, obviously there are girls too. And obviously there are girls who might want to roll around in the mud. I know that was
and
me.
Some aren't. Me too. I was the same.
My mom would have declared mud days and she'd be like, it's raining, go outside. And she would hose us down naked. Just to be clear that this is not just a boys thing.
Yes, it's
but
not just boys.
I do think that it is interesting to hear how physical boys are, or tend to be, not all boys, but a lot of boys and some girls, and that you can do that in a creative way that is safe, that allows them to have fun and learn about themselves and learn about each other.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reminiscing on the big mud piles in our backyard when we were kids and rolling around and just being crazy. And I, as a woman, I had so much energy in my body. I mean, I did gymnastics for a long time and dance. I just had to get that energy out. So I really resonate with the children at our school who need that so much.
Yeah.
And I wish I had that when I was a kid. I wish I had that more in my life.
Yeah.
In a school setting.
Absolutely. Did you ever make mud potions?
All the time.
Yeah.
Mud witchy potions. We do that at school.
Yeah.
All the time.
And just like, I remember my brother and I, the smellier we could get the mud, the better the potion. And then we would go show my mom and she would be like, what in the world is that? But again, the creativity there is just so special. And it's just kind of interesting to reflect on like these beautiful early experiences of learning outdoors and how we've sort of smashed it out of kids, like the older they get, and make them conform to this very narrow idea of learning, which is already undervalued, and it just keeps getting worse. I don't know. Have you thought about like, as your son gets older, like, what kind of education might support him?
Yeah, I'm laughing because we get that question all the time, and we're really just figuring it out as we go. We'll definitely be doing some sort of homeschool pod, but I'm also at this point of, if Orion gets older and he asks to go to public school and he's really yearning for something of that, then of course I will allow him to. That's his choice, and if that's what he wants and needs, then that's totally fine with me. So I want to also put that out there. But
yeah, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater,
yes.
because I do think that there are really important things about schools that I think are overlooked. I mean, my mom taught at a high school for over 2 decades. And, so I do think that education is important, whether it's found in a classroom and or outside of a classroom. Yeah, I also know people that were homeschooled and they really did not feel prepared for life either later.
Yeah.
So I think every child, there is a balance, and it's like part of discovering what your child needs.
Exactly. So I would say the way we're going to be going about it is that we're going to do child-led, what Orion wants to learn, what he wants to be doing. And I wish that I had that so much. I feel like I would be such I don't want to say better person, but I would be a lot further on in my life and career choices if I really was supported in that, of what I wanted to do in life and what I wanted to learn. So I'm thinking now for Orion, we're going to be doing a homeschool pod for now, and loves to garden. He loves plants. He loves to play music. He loves art. He can sit and draw all day. And of course, we're going to be teaching him all those other important things to read and write and things like that. But I think the idea of still keeping him in a space with other children in an outdoor setting is going to be ideal for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be throwing him an iPad or anything.
Yeah, so that was kind of my next
Especially
question.
anytime soon. God.
My next question is, what is your personal relationship with technology, and what do you want your son to know as he grows up about technology?
The way I feel is like, this is an example of, if you never give your child a piece of candy, they are going to just overeat and totally rebel when they're
going to gorge themselves.
They're going to gorge themselves and make them sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I do find that it is okay to have a little bit of screen time every once in a while. And this is just me personally. Other people have
you're not judging other people.
I'm not judging anybody. We have different opinions. So yeah, every once in a while, I'll allow Orion to watch a very slow, very quiet, Guess How Much I Love You show. It's a little bunny, and it's nature based, and it's very quiet and still, and watercolor in the background, and very sweet, because I do feel that if I never give him a little bit of something, then he will really rebel in that sense, or potentially overuse. I'm not quite sure, just because we are outside all the time, but I don't want him to think that technology is a bad thing. So my relationship on it is, it's a really incredible tool in so many different ways, but I do believe that it's important to learn how to write, and your brain works a lot better if you are handwriting down mathematical equations and you're learning how to write the ABCs. And I really feel like you can learn so much more in that sense, the way we were raised. Because I remember when computers first came to our school, I was in elementary school. Same. And I remember the first day, and they had all the computers in the cafeteria, and I was like, whoa. This is a whole nother world. Well,
I remember when they set up a computer lab next to the library, which is so ironic now because they're so polar opposites now. But yeah, they had these giant Mac desktops that were like different colors. Do you remember those?
Oh,
they were like blue and orange.
Like, we were like a little behind on that. They were just gray, and in the actual library too. They were first showing it to us in the cafeteria on rainy days, and then they brought some into the library, which was interesting. And that was in elementary school. And then in middle school, we had also right next to the library, and we had time to learn how to type, and basically having to type as quick as we can.
I remember that. We did that too. Yeah, there was like a software where it was like you have to learn how to type as fast as possible.
Yes.
But I remember even being, I don't know, like 20 years old, applying to jobs, and it was like, how fast can you type?
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
And it's crazy to think about that now, because like, what an irrelevant skill that doesn't say a lot about who a person is or what kind of support or skill they can provide. Like how fast you type, how irrelevant.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I remember my dad wanting me to learn software engineer and work on computers. I was like, Dad, do you even know me? Do you even know who I am? And I tell people that sometimes, and they just crack up. They're like, yeah, definitely no. Definitely not.
Yeah, I couldn't see it. Sorry. Sorry, Dad.
I could barely send out emails.
Well, since we're just talking about play and you're talking about your son and the school, can you share a story where outdoor play made a noticeable difference in a child's behavior or mood or development? I'm sure it's every day, all day.
Yeah, I would definitely say when new families come into our school with children that are really high energy and other parents might see them as a difficult or bad child. And I really, it breaks my heart to hear any parent say that about another child. There is a huge shift in them. One great thing is to, of course, have them get all their energy out and give them a job. Tell them to go feed the goats or go bring the snacks to the chicken. They love a job. And letting them know that they are of help is actually really essential for children that might be struggling in a lot of ways at home, giving them responsibility and knowing that they are of help, that they can bring something to the table, that they are involved with something. Because a lot of times when children are acting out, it's really because there's something so much deeper within that they want to be heard and want to be seen. So let them be seen and heard and run around and play and feed the animals and enjoy the space.
I love that. What about folks that don't live on a farm or near a farm or access to animals? Or how can parents integrate nature into daily life, especially if they live in an area where they have limited access to these really beautiful green spaces?
I think you can bring nature into your home in so many different ways, especially with food and herbs. And going to the farmer's market, something that we talked about today, taking your children weekly to the farmer's market, letting them know what's in season, having them cook with you and making food, maybe having a couple potted plants outside or inside your house, something where your child, that can be something that they can do every day and help you with.
Like watering the
plants, picking off the dead leaves.
Oh my
drinking
gosh,
some
so
fresh
beautiful.
tea. Yeah. Having a little pot of chamomile outside your window or some basil in your kitchen growing in a little pot. They can trim that. They can make tea out of it. They can use that in their food and just get really comfortable touching plants and knowing what's in season. I think is really ideal for children who don't have access to nature every single day. Yeah.
This is such a beautiful segue because I did want to talk to you about nourishment, which food is such a concrete example of nourishment, but I think it goes beyond just food. What does nourishment mean to you in a deeper, more emotional context?
I would definitely say nourishment is nourishing the whole body, mind, spirit, right? And this is just going back into our school for a second, but that is what our teachers are supporting our children, is nourishing the whole system in itself. And so when I think about nourishment for me, other than food, of course, food is so essential, but nourishment as in herbal medicine, I know that technically is consumption, but even something that's of the essence of something. So a flower essence. Flower essences are so incredible. Making sure you have nourish yourself mentally, getting yourself some exercise, some movement, just some quiet time to yourself, being around friends that you really love, making time for that, kind of getting out of the rut of the day to day. If you're in a really busy work rhythm that you want to escape for a little bit, putting your phone down. And I'm saying that because I'm telling myself that as well.
Right.
Having to cap my social media time and just in general with a screen, I get really anxious easily and my mind spins a lot and I got a lot of things going on. I got a lot of businesses going on. And for me to just put that down and to be present and just get in my garden and or go on a walk or go to the beach is really, really essential for my whole body, mind, spirit, and self. Reading a good book. Taking time away.
Can you talk about your favorite nourishing herbs that you're into lately?
Lately, I have been really into rose for the heart. And I've been shifting a lot. I've actually been doing a lot of flower essences these days. So the rescue remedy, the Bach flower rescue remedy.
I love that one.
So incredible. And I completely forgot about it for a while. I'm in an herbal program with a woman, Carol Wade, and she has Earth Island Herbs in Ojai. It's a 2-year program once a month. And she's so incredible. She is the elder that I was looking for. Amazing teacher. Everybody really needs to check out her school. Yeah, it's a 2-year program, once a month, all day, Saturday, Sunday, in Ojai, in her herb garden. And so I feel like every month lately it's been shifting a lot for me because we go through different parts of the body. So this month I've been really drawn towards my nervous system.
Could you share a couple different herbs that could be supportive for like an overactive mind or anxiety or stress? I mean, we talked about rescue remedy, which is my go-to after a really long birth, just on a physical depletion level, but also an emotional level too, holding so much for other people. But just for listeners that I think are drawn to this podcast, who might be crossing over that important threshold into early parenthood, there is this sense of, I need to have everything figured out. I need to have everything planned. I need to know everything. What are some herbs to kind of help settle the nervous system?
We have a really incredible blend, which is my favorite blend that we grow in tincture. It's called the Calm Blend, and it has mostly California poppy, super great for the nervous system. And it has lemon balm, skullcap, milky oats, and tulsi.
Oh,
it just makes my heart sing. All of those incredible herbs, and tulsi is an adaptogen. Also, for the nervous system too. Lemon balm. These are all just really gentle herbs that most people can take unless if you're allergic. Oh, there's chamomile in there too, if I didn't mention that. Some people can't have chamomile, but most people can use any of those herbs, and they're really, really incredible. Super strength for the nervous system, and also safe and gentle for children. So I've diluted it before and given some to Orion. I've been working on glycerites, or some people say glycerates, which is herbs blended in glycerin, vegetable glycerin that's food-based and food grade. And that's really good for children because it's sweet. And so I've been doing tulsi and skullcap. That was from last summer in our garden that I've been giving to Orion, and I've given to another friend's daughter that has been going through a lot, and she just got out of the hospital. So helping her adapt to life on the physical and emotional level is really great. Yeah, those are some like key basic herbs that are also really easy to grow and accessible for everybody.
Are those safe for people breastfeeding?
Yeah.
Okay,
safe for
cool.
breastfeeding. Some people don't want to take anything that's in the mint family if they're struggling already with producing milk, but most of it's California poppy. I wouldn't say that there is a ton of lemon balm excessive enough to be an issue for somebody that's breastfeeding.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for anyone listening that is newly postpartum, what is your go-to number one herb for like a freshly postpartum woman that you're like, oh, this one works wonders in those early days of new motherhood?
Motherwort is my favorite. Motherwort works as an adaptogen for mothers. And it is a little bitter. It's really incredible for the heart, cardiovascular system as well. And it's a hormone modulator. So you're going through really big shifts, huge different spikes with your hormones, especially a week after you have a baby. I know this tried and true for some of my clients that I've had, but also friends who have really actively taken motherwort after they have children who are not quite into herbal medicine and love it and say it helps so much. And the way I think about the plant spirit of motherwort is I've grown this plant for so many years. It's such a beautiful, beautiful plant.
Do you sell it?
We sell it in tincture form. We don't sell it in in dried herb because it is very, very bitter. It's not the tastiest, but it does the job. And it has these really gorgeous kind of spiky purple flowers that come from the stalk, and these really big, beautiful, like serrated wide leaves. And I think of it as this beautiful mother holding these really strong boundaries with her spiky flowers. And I love thinking about plants that way, of the way they grow and as they are the spirit of a plant. And so that's why I really love motherwort. And like I said, I've been growing it for years, and
Is it a hardy plant? Like, is it easy to grow?
It's a hardy plant. It's a perennial. Yeah, Cardiaca leonoris is the scientific name, and which means lion's heart.
Oh.
Lion heart.
Oh my gosh, my mom's coming in a couple weeks and we're going to do our garden, and I feel like maybe I should grow some of that.
You should grow some of that. I'm also going to be starting a bunch of seeds soon, so I can give you some plugs.
Oh my gosh.
I always grow more than I need. And it's a perennial, so it'll come back every year.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so
beautiful.
great.
And it's great for sleep. We have that in also our nighttime blend. Yeah.
I love that. So you are a postpartum doula. How do you help parents navigate the overwhelming amount of advice and expectations they receive after birth?
Oh my gosh. Whew. This is something that I feel like a lot of new moms need to hear. First things first, please stop Googling.
Yeah, please. Any of my clients listening know not to Google. Because I tell them, do not stay off Dr. Google. Google is not a doctor and it's not your friend.
Stay off Google. Social media is really challenging because there is an overload of information nowadays. And this is what overwhelms me just in general as a human being, and the thought of a new mom's nervous system. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of my mentees who's pregnant with her second, and she said, this time around, when I breastfeed, I'm going to read a book, and I am going to put my phone down in another room. And I just was like, really? It just was so striking to me that like she's had like 3 years to reflect, and she was just like, no, I do not want to be aimlessly scrolling. I don't want to be tuned in. And I just thought that was so interesting. And I told her, it reminded me of what my mom always tells me about when she had me and my brother. She said, my favorite thing to do at night, and she still talks about it, which is so special, but she's like, my favorite thing to do at night was those 2 or 3 a.m. feeds. I would count your toes, and I would smell your skin, and I would look at your hair and like just totally marvel at every single little tiny little detail, you know? And I was just like, oh, how special. You know,
that.
Your child can be the TV.
It's true. And something that I do want to mention in this is when I had Orion, I actually had my phone away from me, and I only used natural light. I had a little bit of salt lamps for the first at least 2 weeks when he was born.
I love that.
Yeah, it was completely silent.
Did you have candlelight at all?
I didn't have candlelight just because my partner was a little stressed about it. And also when you're stuck in the feeding, if something happens.
Right.
I just had a few salt lamps. That's all I had. It was quiet. I didn't watch a movie. I didn't scroll on my phone. I waited a week to let people know on social media that my baby was born. It really helped me so much.
Yeah. And by the way, anyone that's listening that's like, oh, well, I scrolled all day. It's fine. It's fine if you want to do that. However, I think what we're sort of getting at here is reflecting on how your body was responding to what you were doing in the moment. And I think that a lot of people are able to reflect back in hindsight and go, yeah, that didn't make me feel good. Let me be clear. I've never heard a mom say that scrolling all night while breastfeeding was like beneficial for her, or that she really loved it, or that she really got something from it. It was more like mindless, I'm lonely or isolated, and all of these things, which every new mom feels.
It makes you feel more isolated when you are watching all of those people on social media doing all those things. And
going
you're
to
in
different
bed.
countries, and their life looks like so exciting,
all
and
the
here
stuff
you
they've
are
made.
covered in snot and shit, and you know?
Yes. Yeah. And feeling like you need to be doing something else other than the most important work of your life is feeding your child in whatever capacity that looks like, and making sure that you and your family are nourished. That's the most important thing.
Well, also, not to keep bringing up my mom, but she
it.
clearly has made an impression on me. She always says, like, you make sure you tell your clients that when they are in those early postpartum days, that bonding period isn't just important for now. That sustains you for the rest of your life. That is the love that you always refer back to. And I have chills thinking about it.
So beautiful.
Because it's so true.
It's so true.
And when you're in it,
it's so overwhelming and you're like, I don't know, I don't like this. This is a lot. I feel like shit. I look like shit. I don't know this child. I don't know my partner. I don't know who I am. It's very scary and disorienting. However, if you really tap into the frequency of love and just admiration for this universe of a human that you created from scratch, that time, that bonding period, those early postpartum days, that energy sustains you forever and ever and ever and ever.
It really does.
And before you know it, your baby is now 7 years old and you look at newborn photos and you go, God, if only I had known how fleeting that time is. And I've never had a kid, but I know it so well. And I know that I'm also going to need someone like you in my corner reminding me to do all these things. Because, I think every woman, whether you are professionally working with women in any capacity, you still need to be reminded of these things too.
Yes, definitely. And I still think about Orion just turned 3 in January. And Rob and I keep saying, oh my gosh, he's so big. I can't believe how big he is. He's growing so fast. And there's things where, of course, I would have liked to do a little bit differently when he was younger. And I wish I was not so much into pushing my career at that time. But at least I had him with me and I did it the way I could have done it at the time. And that's all that I had.
I love that.
About it now.
Because you know what? You're like, you did the best with what you had. Mm. And now looking back, you're like, oh, I get it now. And I get what's most important, even though at the time I didn't know or you didn't know what was most important. But now you know. And that's really cool and special to even have that much self-awareness to reflect back on that time. Which I think is really special too, because I get second, third, fourth time moms and they're like, I know I want this one to be different. And I think that's, you go into the experience of birth thinking that you need to have everything figured out. And then most people realize that it's not about figuring it out. It's just about being present for what comes up and being open, flexible, adaptable to what everybody needs, what you need.
Yeah. Adaptable is a big one.
Yeah.
In parenting, in parenthood, and just being a mom.
The conversation isn't over yet. We've still got about 15 minutes of this episode, but it's behind a paywall. If you'd like to hear the rest of it and show your support for the show, a paid subscription makes all the difference. Your support helps me cover the cost of paying my editor, providing for my family, and managing all the day-to-day expenses that make this work possible. As a paid subscriber, you'll also get access to a full extended episode plus bonus content where I share my personal reflections as a doula, midwife assistant, and a women's reproductive health educator. I talk openly about the emotional richness of this work, the art of caregiving, and share simple meditative practices to help you find calm, confidence, things I believe are valuable for all of us. Your subscription truly supports the continued growth of the podcast and the time I can dedicate to producing it. If you're unable to subscribe right now, there are still plenty of ways to support the show. You can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to our Substack, follow us on YouTube, or simply share the show with friends and family who might enjoy it. In addition to producing this podcast, I am a full-time birth doula, educator, and mentor. Your support, in whatever form it takes, helps me to continue this important work and share it with you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, and your encouragement means the world to me. Thank you so much. Are you interested in becoming a women's reproductive health advocate? I'm excited to offer mentorship to women around the world who want more guidance and support on this important journey. This 6-month mentorship gives us the chance to work one-on-one, where I'll provide personalized tools and resources to help you empower and support other women while also taking care of yourself. This work is truly needed, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. You can find more details in the show notes, and my inbox is always open to connect with like-minded women who are ready to make a difference.